Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about interviews. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, what do you think people do poorly in interviews although they may have strong technical skills? Well, the only other thing that the vast majority of companies care about is going to be communication. Communication, 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 and that is the thing that I think this is hilarious actually, because usually you have one or two developers. Either you have developers who are really, really social, and in many cases a little bit weak in the tech skills. Not always. There's always a spectrum, of course. And then you have the others who are really, really good technically, but really weak socially. It's actually kind of funny because I remember this one interviewee that we had a few years back, who we had a personal discussion with this person. He said to the head of the company something along the lines that I prefer much more to talk to your CTO because he just asked me tech questions. You ask me all of these value and personal questions, and I can't think about that stuff. I don't feel like it's annoying, or like I don't really have good answers to it, because he was more comfortable talking about tech stuff than actually talking about social aspects and how he works in a team, and like how does he resolve issues and get feedback and like all of that stuff. And you might think that the tech skills are the thing that matters the most, and I won't lie to you, it is definitely 99.999% of the time it's going to be the stronger thing. If you have to be strong in one of these things, most of the time you want to be strong in the technical aspects. But there is a range to everything, because like some people think that that's the only thing that matters, but the reality is that the social skills matters a lot as well. You can't just be completely it's like two different meters or two bars. You can't be completely drained on the social skills, so you're like a freak and you can't work with other people. It doesn't matter. Then in that case it doesn't really matter how good you are in the tech skills, because nobody's going to be able to get any value from you apart from, well, basically here is all the things that you need to do. I just hope that you get everything right without talking to anybody, which practically never happens, because unfortunately, even if you are the world's best programmer and the most flawless coder that has ever lived, the process of delivering software is flawed, which means that your code has to be flawed. Even if you can write it in a perfect manner, the specifications that you're going to get are not going to be perfect, and you're going to have to deal with that somehow. It's not going to help you to sit there and say, well, I just did the thing that the specification said. This customer is still going to be upset, even if they are to blame for the flawed specification, which is the lot of the software developer. The lot of the software developer is literally to do practically everything, to bridge every single possible mistake that you can possibly imagine from the stakeholders and everybody else. It is your job to be the liaison, the ambassador, the magical function or service that takes in human readable, human understandable ideas, concept, explanations, whatever they send your way, literally. And I've seen everything from people who, like, to this day, I've never seen a stakeholder be able to write a good specification. Like I think that this is something as elusive as shipping a front end application without anybody ever having a problem with anything UI related. It's I think it's really just a myth. It really is. And it's the same thing here. To get a good specification on the first try, it's practically impossible. It's never going to happen. I think I will die before or quit this industry way before that ever happens. And if you are weak socially, you won't be able to build the right thing. And sure, you can say that you can blame the person who's supposed to give you that specification, but ultimately, if the specification was wrong and you wrote the wrong thing, and now they want to change it, you're still up shit creek, because now you have to change code where you made a bunch of assumptions, and depending on time and how much of a flaw there is, you might not have time to do this. Your only option in at that moment might actually be to hack it together, or to like bridge the mistake in some fashion. And the only way you could have saved the situation was if you have the social skills. So in an interview, people check this. this is why the interview, the social aspect does matter, because the people who are hiring you, one part is that they of course want someone who is nice to work with, but one part is also that this is so important that if you can't do it, we have to hire somebody who can. And most companies are more that is in of itself a very flawed process and an expensive process. So in many cases it's more feasible for the company to find developers who are really good in tech skills, but also sort of good in the social aspect, to kind of bridge that thing. Because if the communication skills are lacking, I like to say that it doesn't matter how amazing your solutions are if you're building the wrong thing. So the thing that most developers do really poorly in the interview that is not tech related is the communication, and it comes down to everything from you are very shy, you can't talk, or it's hard to communicate with you, and you can of course argue that, oh well, if you're shy, that's not really your fault, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, the employers are going to look at you and they're trying to figure out what type of person you are, and they can't control you. They don't know if you're just stressed, or they can't know if this is just a extra shy day for you, or it's an extra difficult time for you. I mean, sure, they're not dumb, they're going to realize that this is a stressful moment for you, but if at the same time they have to make an evaluation, and if you are really bad at communicating who you are and being transparent and having a back and forth and having a good dialogue, they're not going to learn all that much from you. It's like, honest to God, it's like going to a doctor and just not saying. I mean, the doctor has to get answers to their the questions that person might have, in order for them to help you. It's the same thing here. If I'm going to be able to hire you, I need you to show me what type of person you are, so that I can make an informed validation. Because if I can't determine if you're going to be a good fit for the company or not, it's safer in many cases for me to just dismiss you. And that might be unfair, but it's the safest option for the employer. And that's why you really need to get to a point where you don't have to be the life of the party. You just have to be able to talk to people and communicate effectively. So that is, I would say, the absolute most important thing. And this is not just true for the personal interviews when you actually sit and talk with people. It's also, in many cases, one of the determining factors when you're dealing with, say, coding challenges. In many cases, companies will do things such as pair programming sessions or mob coding sessions or whiteboard tests or stuff like that, where they're not just interested in seeing that you can handle the technical aspect of the thing, they're also interested in seeing how do you collaborate with people. I've been in many interviews where the challenge was not just to arrive at the answer. It was about how will I deal with the process of arriving at that solution. Because if I'm sitting with two different developers and I just go, yeah, I'm just gonna solve it, and I tap away, sure, I solved the problem, but I didn't really show that I can work as a team player, and that is also important to the company. It's similar to, you know, how your math teacher probably told you a million times that you can't just write the answer. You have to write out the equation, so I know how you solve the problem, so I can evaluate if you understood how to solve the problem. And it's a very similar sort of situation here. There has to be something more to go on than the fact that you solved the problem. So what I want you to take away from this is that the thing that most interviewees do poorly, apart from when they have strong technical skills, is that they are really weak communicators. And that is a really bad thing for you. You don't have to be the life of the party, you don't have to be a socialite or anything like that, but you do need to be able to talk to people. You have to be able to communicate who you are. You need to be able to answer questions and hold a dialogue with people. Because if you just shut down or you freeze up whenever someone wants to talk to you, it becomes really hard for the interviewer to figure out if you're going to fit into the environment. The thing that they're looking for is not someone who is going to be a party animal. They're looking for someone who is going to fit in, to be able to be flexible, like not cause problems with other people in the company, to be able to resolve issues and communicate effectively and be a team player, and all of these sorts of things that is expected from anybody who is in a professional environment. Those are the things that they're looking for. And trust me when I say this, guys, the bar is not that high on average. It's just that you have to be able to get over that anxiety, which a lot of us feel in the interview. I know it's tough, but if you practice feeling comfortable in that process, it becomes easier. And I promise you, if you get a little bit more comfortable in your own skin, you're going to get more callbacks from your interviews. I promise you that much. Have a great day.